KREM 2 News at Noon begins now.
Right now at KREM 2 News at Noon, while the rain is starting to clear out, we'll continue to monitor any chances through this Halloween forecast.
Plus, new at noon, the city of Spokane is closing the Trent shelter today. We'll tell you how the city plans to provide shelter to the people who had been staying there. And KREM 2 hosts the final debate in the race for Washington's 5th Congressional District. Hear from the candidates Carmela Conroy and Michael Baumgartner about what sets them apart. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here for the KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Channing Curtis in for Laura Papetti today. We start with a look at the forecast. Of course, it is Halloween, so a lot of people have outdoor plans, especially the kiddos wanting to trick or treat. But Thomas, it was pretty wet this morning. Will that rain be sticking around?
Yeah, incredibly wet this morning, Channing, but within the last hour or so, that rain has lightened up over downtown Spokane and certainly here at our South Hill studios, but we're not completely out of the woods just yet. So we're going to dive right in to Doppler radar, and really the batch of rain that is still left over and ongoing is now north of I-90, so it's over 5 Mile Falls and getting up towards Chattaroy, Meade, and all the way through Deer Park. And this is expected to continue even farther northward into areas like Chewelah, Newport, Old Town, and perhaps even Sandpoint if it does want to go in that direction. Now, is this going to make it all the way to the Halloween forecast? Kind of a maybe, maybe not. Probably not, because as the rain came down this morning, it really used up a vast majority of all of the available moisture for a rainfall. So that just means our rain chances are low, but not 0%. Maybe just a chance for some mist or a bit of a drizzle during the earlier evening hours. Otherwise, honestly, looking like a drier Halloween, but don't expect the grass to dry up. So the front yards are certainly going to be very wet. So if you slip and fall on the grass, that is really what's going to be the most wet aspect of this Halloween time. So hopefully you have a safe and happy Halloween, as our temperatures will be right around 40 degrees.
Well, new at noon, the city of Spokane is closing the Trent Resource and Assistance Center today. As KREM 2 News previously reported, the city has been ramping down operations at the homeless shelter for the past few months. Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown has said she wants to move the city away from large shelters like this one to a model that includes housing navigation centers and sites scattered throughout the city. The mayor's office said it has more than 300 beds available for people needing shelter. That's in addition to existing shelter space managed by nonprofits. Also new at noon today, Montana law enforcement has made an arrest in the case of a man initially thought to have been killed in a bear attack. The man was found dead while camping nearly 3 weeks ago. Initially, a friend thought that the victim had been attacked by a bear, but further investigation revealed that the man was the victim of what investigators called a brutal murder. The Whitman County Sheriff's Office did not release the name of the suspect, but they did say they were already in custody on unrelated charges. Well, candidates for Washington's 5th Congressional District met for the final debate right here in the KREM 2 studio last night. The hour-long debate covered several issues impacting voters across eastern Washington. KREM 2's Christian Garza breaks down where both candidates stand on those key issues.
This debate comes less than a week out from Election Day, and it marked the 6th time that they've debated each other. Now, they outlined how they would work with local tribes, push to improve the federal response to wildfires, and broker a new farm bill. Overall, this was a civil debate, but their differences were clear on a few key issues.
That intimate decisions about who we marry, when we marry, whether to start a family, and with whom we start a family have to be left up to us as individuals. That's part of the freedom that we are guaranteed by our Constitution.
Abortion isn't mentioned in the Constitution, and as such, it's an issue for the states. So I don't plan on when I go to Congress of being particularly active in the abortion discussions, because that's better dealt with at the local and state level.
I think that it is disingenuous for my opponent to say that he just wouldn't vote if the issue came up before the Congress. He's never trained as a lawyer. He apparently hasn't read the part of the Constitution that says in the 9th Amendment and 10th Amendment that there are privacy rights, there are rights reserved to individuals that are not mentioned in the Constitution, and also that rights that are not, powers that are not given to the federal government or to the state government are reserved to the people themselves.
We need more support for young families, things like the child tax credit and health care support, so that people can make the decision that is right for them. But again, on this issue, and we get asked about it a lot, I don't think abortion is a federal issue. It's a state and local issue, and I think that's where these decisions will rest.
Quickly, in just 15 seconds, please tell us, if a national abortion ban bill came to Congress, how would you vote on it, Ms. Conroy?
I would vote against a national abortion ban.
And Mr. Baumgartner?
Yeah, I would also vote against a national abortion ban.
While both candidates agreed they would have certified the 2020 election results, they had very different views on election integrity and what the best course of action would be to make sure people across the state trust the voting process.
It's important that we restore that trust. What I would like to see be done, if it could be done, was to return to same-day voting. I think that brings a tremendous amount of civic pride to folks, and people would have more trust than the current process. One thing that we should all do right now is show ID to get to vote. You know, if you have to show ID to get into Costco or show ID to get an airplane, well, what's the most important thing you do in society is show ID to vote.
The citizens of Washington state have decided that they want to be able to vote by mail, that everybody gets to vote by mail. And so for my opponent to suggest that somehow the system's so broken that we have to return to the expense and inconvenience of bringing people together to vote, and that in order to do so, they're going to have to get an identification of a particular type. This is voter suppression.
This was only a small portion of things that were discussed, and the candidates answered over a dozen questions. However, this was the final debate before Election Day on November 5th, but both candidates say they will be campaigning until the very end. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
Now, of course, that was just a small portion of the debate. You can watch it in its entirety streaming right now on KREM 2+. While there, you can also check out our Elections Guide special. KREM 2+ is our streaming platform. It's free to download on your Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Well, hundreds of ballots are still missing in Whitman County after they failed to reach voters' mailboxes. The county elections office is urging voters to be proactive, which means that some people will have to request a new ballot to make sure that their vote counts.
Made it to the Spokane main processing facility plant. They were scanned in there. The post office is telling me that there was a 99.6% successful scan rate. So where are these ballots then?
Officials believe 200+ voters in the small town of Garfield will have to request a replacement ballot. Right now, state investigators are helping Whitman County track down those missing ballots. Still ahead on the KREM 2 News at noon, it's KREM 2's birthday, and we're taking a look back at what the early years of our TV station looked like.